When you think of nature in Brazil, what comes to mind? The Amazon, right? Or maybe the Pantanal, as we were hearing these amazing stories of Cayman, or maybe the Atlantic rainforest. But today I want to take you all somewhere different, somewhere equally vital, but often overlooked, the Brazilian savanna, known as the Cerrado, in the heart of Brazil. I'm Pedro. I'm the director of OCanto, a collection of small lodges in Brazil that are really into conservation, regenerative travel, and Brazilian hospitality. Amongst these species, we have the maned wolf, which starred BBC's Planet Earth months ago, with all the shooting taking place at Trijunção. It is also home to the elusive black jaguar, one of the most spectacular animals in the world that can still be found in the wild in this area. Imagine a landscape where the real strength lies underground, with roots stretching up to 15 meters deep, tapping into hidden water reserves. These roots act as lifelines of the Cerrado, quietly sustaining the ecosystem through the toughest droughts, ensuring the life above thrives even when the surface seems barren. And in some very special parts of the biome, these aquifers surfaces, forming what we call the veredas, where crystal clear fresh water runs above the ground in an explosion of life and biodiversity. Some of these veredas can stretch for kilometers, forming one of the most spectacular sceneries in the country. The Cerrado is also known as the cradle of waters, being the direct water source not only for its own flora and fauna, but for at least 25 million people living in the region and many millions more who are served on a subsidiary basis, including the biggest cities in Brazil, like Rio and São Paulo. So during 65 million years, life here has flourished. Rain comes and restocks the aquifers, penetrating the soil through these long roots from the native vegetation. And during the dry season, plants manage to find water deeper and provide resources, food, and moisture to all forms of life. Animals can find fresh water in the veredas, and the biome is balanced. Until now. We already lost more than half of the Cerrado's native vegetation, with some scientists stating that we are already past the tipping point, when the biome cannot regrow naturally. Most of it's related to the rapidly expanding soybean monoculture made possible in this region through these irrigated farming technologies. This is done when you drill the soil hundreds of meters deep and pump water to the surface, channeling it through huge dripping pivot systems, some of them covering more than 150 hectares and pumping hundreds of thousands of liters of water per hour. We're not talking about small farmers here. This is a high-tech, big corporation, big investment style of agribusiness. To give an idea of the scale of the problem, just in our neighboring properties, we have 439 of these pivots. And the consequences, they are there. Every year we lose water at the veredas. Some of our lagoons are drying. Lagoons that local people used to go and swim 15 years ago are now just a dry land. If you do the mathematics, the annual consumption of water of our neighboring properties could supply 30 million people. That is more than the population of London and Paris combined. Zooming out, there are dozens of farms utilizing the same technology in this part of the country, which is on the verge of becoming the largest irrigated area on the planet. To connect the pivots and distribute water, these farms, they build water canals. And this is a dangerous trap for wildlife. Animals go there in search of water, fall, and cannot climb out, so they drown. Last year, we lost three maned wolves to these water canals, three beautiful creatures that represents the soul of the Cerrado. One of them, Nhorinhá, was a matriarch, a symbol of resilience, known to us since 2018 and a star in last year's BBC's Planet Earth. So that leads us to the big question. What can we do about it? Our mission is safeguard the Brazilian biomes, the essence of Brazil and the continuity of its biomes. And to do that, we act in three different pillars. The first pillar is land protection and conservation projects. Acquiring land is a very important part of what we do. It is a way of ensuring the long-term vision of the projects. Since 2018, we host a conservation program along with the NGO On Safari dedicated to the maned wolf, with teams on the field every day and an extensive grid of camera traps, among other initiatives. Through these cameras, we've learned all sorts of things, from some animals' behavior that have never been observed before, all the way to realizing that this is the region with the biggest population of black jaguars living freely on the planet. So this helps us to produce scientific data, studies, and reports that are critical to create a solid data-backed argumentation for the political debate about conservation versus the non-sustainable economic development. We also work closely with the public sector, being that the National Park Services, the environmental authorities, or the public administration. We need and we must engage the local government, as an important part of this fight is through regulatory measures. The second pillar is sustainable farming. This is a way to increase the land value and find different and more sustainable land uses as an alternative to monocultures. What if we can find a way of generating the same revenue from the monocultures, but using half the land and a fraction of the water? It is an ambitious experiment, but imagine the impact if we could turn these vast monocultures into sustainable, biodiverse landscape that feed both people and nature. And the third pillar is high-end hospitality. Having more people engaged in this fight is essential. Having the right people is even better. And to do that, we built a lodge, 9 suites only, offering world-class hospitality and the possibility to explore one of the last remnants of the Cerrado. The main goal is bringing travelers to better understand the biome, feel and live its biodiversity, influencing both Brazilians and international travelers about the importance of its conservation. I believe that being the local people on the ground, we gotta be there. We gotta raise the awareness and promote memorable experiences to those who visit the biome, engaging them on this mission. As journalists, you have the power to bring these stories to life, to influence and to inspire change. As travel designers and tour operators, you can educate and guide travelers towards destinations and products that prioritize conservation and regeneration. And together we can make every journey a step towards nature conservation. The Cerrado has been quietly sustaining life for millions of years. The question now is, will we let it continue?